I appreciate y'all coming on the call. Stephen is a little under the weather today. Then I thank you guys for allowing me to chat with you here today on this call. Um, so my name is Scott Zuckman, and starting in the mid '80s, I started collecting gold and silver, and I did it in the form of bullion as well as the form of collectibles. And one of the topics for today's training calls is to understand the difference and similarities of what kinds of metals are out there, what is good to invest in today's uncertain economic climate, and so forth. I have been more recently actively buying precious metals because of the drop in the dollar's value, because of high inflation, the cost of goods, and certainly the uncertainty in the stock markets and crypto. Um, so this gives me some feedback and some of the things that we'll be talking about on the call. I also want to introduce you to Tony Hubbard, who I called to be on this call with us kind of at the last minute. With all due respect, he's driving. You can see, but he's listening to us. He's smiling. He's happy. And Tony is also involved with what I'm doing, what Stephen Nagy's doing, what Chris Noggle is doing, and he's heavily invested into precious metals as well. And the two of us are going to do a combination of what's the word, of taking your questions and also trying to give you some updates. John, good. Okay, so actually, I seem to have gotten a little bit more response to the question of who'd like to make some extra income and who's entrepreneurial. So maybe in this call, we'll train you on how you can do that as well. So hopefully that'll be of interest. I'd like Tony to at least say hi. Go ahead.
I bought my first precious metals back in 2008 when a friend of mine came to me and said, listen, I don't know if you know what's happening with the dollar, but you need to put a portion of your wealth into precious metals. And I started out just by buying silver eagles, bullion. And and then when I first got involved in another company back in 2012 that offered not only bullion, but the collectible or the numismatic coins, then I gained an education on why I believe that everybody should have both. You know, bullion being a defense, a way to protect your wealth because it has a 6,000 year track record, and then the collectible side being an offense. So it to not only multiply, but to definitely grow your wealth exponentially because historically the collectible coins have increased in value 5 to 10 times faster than the bullion counterpart. So I get a chance over the last 5.5 years with this company to been able to stash or stack, a few $100,000 worth of precious metals, and I love the fact that I have an avenue to help individuals do the very same thing, as little as they want, as much as they want, whatever they want. So definitely excited about this crew here that uh, believe in the same thing, not only to collect assets as far as precious metals, but for those of you that have that entrepreneur bone in your body, uh, have an additional stream of revenue on top of what you're already doing. So definitely excited about being on this platform today and helping in any way we can. Back to you, Scott.
The real key thing is I want to start with based on the question and answer I had in the beginning. Let's explain the difference between gold and silver bullion compared to collectibles, and compare and contrast what they do and what they offer. A bullion is the non-collectible form of gold and silver, and it can be in the form of coins, rounds, or bars. And so, if you are collecting any kind of metal bullion and you want to take physical possession of it, typically you walk into a coin dealership and the coin dealer will offer you either American Eagles or Canadian Maple Leafs, Krugerrands, Australian Kangaroos. There's a lot of different coins that are minted around the world that are just bullion. They're non-collectible. They 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 are worth what the metal is inside of them. Now, The value of a metal inside of them is determined by the stock market. It's futures contracts on gold and silver, and it is highly manipulated by the major players in the market. And what I mean by manipulated is there's a bid and an ask on futures contracts. And the people who are playing the game will assume whether gold or silver are going to be going up in the future. And they will then quote a price that they're willing to pay for a contract of X number of ounces of gold or silver bullion. And these contracts have the asking price is higher than the bid price, and the asking price is what we call a spot price. That will change minute to minute while the stock market is open, and it can change day to day while in between the markets. It could be after hours traded, it could be traded during the market, but it's volatile in the terms that you can see plus or minus. Like, let's take silver, which is around $21.50 an ounce, and what you can find is those contracts can go up to $22 or $23 within a given day of trading, and then they can drop back down. They can go up, down, up, down. But overall, the trend for gold and silver have always been positive. They've always been higher. And this is because gold and silver hold their value while currencies go down. Typically in the past, whenever gold and silver have changed prices, it's based on what the dollar is doing, what inflation is, what the interest rates the government is charging for contracts, and so forth. So let's say the interest rates are rising, which, by the way, they are. The Fed has said they're going to raise the rates on the gold and silver. I'm sorry, raise the interest rates, my bad, every single meeting of the Fed for the rest of the year. They're doing a minimum of a quarter point, but that doesn't mean they might not raise it a half a point at a given meeting. So it just depends what the economy is doing. Yesterday, I saw the new inflation numbers were just published for the last month, which was April. And so April inflation was 8.36, where percent, where March was 8.5, and both months are at 40-year highs. So we haven't seen this kind of inflation in over 40 years. And a lot of you, if you're under 40 years old, you just don't even know. But I'm 66, and believe me, I understand what's going on here because I've seen it. I bought my very first house in 1980, and interest rates on a first mortgage were 18 to 19% interest. Well, you people nowadays who've been used to buying homes at 2.5% interest loans, thank your lucky freaking stars that you got that locked in, especially if you got a 30-year loan locked in for under 3%. When I bought my very first house, I couldn't afford a bank loan. Literally, my job did not pay me enough for the bank to say I'd qualify for a 19% interest loan to wipe out the mortgages that were already on the property. So the prior sellers had already taken a first mortgage, a second mortgage, a third mortgage, and literally a fourth mortgage. When I bought it, I gave like $5,000 down to the seller, and she carried a fifth mortgage. There were 5 mortgages on the property, and my monthly payments were very high, but so I put a very high percentage of my paycheck toward my house payment. But I did that knowing that they would come down, right? And over the years, they came down, and then I refinanced, and whew, life was good again. And then I took the extra cash that I had, and I bought more houses, and I built up a real estate income portfolio because I've always been about passive income. I believe in getting rents. But the thing I found over all these years of investing is rents are not what I want to call passive income by any stretch of the imagination. Literally got an email this morning from a property manager of one of my properties saying the bathtub plumbing is no good. And you have to go, it's on a second floor, it's a condo, and I have to go through the neighbor below me and drill through their ceiling to change the plumbing on the tub. This is going to cost a couple $1,000. And it's not just as simple as replacing a tub. Well, there goes your passive income. You have to pay for these unexpected things. With gold and silver, I can show you before this call is done a way to get passive income out of it, which is really very kind of cool. But I've always been investing since the mid 80s. I started buying gold and silver as a hedge against the crazy high inflation we were seeing because I would listen to famous authors like Robert Kiyosaki. And Robert Kiyosaki, in his book Rich Dad Poor Dad, says that the rich people get that way because they hedge against their dollar losing value because the dollar is what we call fiat currency. And I know you guys have heard this through the money school, and you understand through Nagy and Nagel's teachings that fiat currency is only worth what the government says it's worth. And as long as the government has power and you believe in them, then the currency survives. When something happens that's bad and they don't lose, they lose faith in the government, it falls apart. Example, in Germany, when you have probably heard the stories of how many marks that you would need in a wheelbarrow just to buy a loaf of bread, and how money is flying around in the streets because of its devaluation. It's not worth the paper it's printed on. And a lot of people were using dollar bills and $10 bills as toilet paper. And you hear all these stories. And the reality check is that could happen to anyone with a fiat currency at any given time when faith is lost in their government. And not to get political, but just to talk history and teach a little bit here, is if you look at what happened in Russia just recently, they said, screw it. We know our ruble is losing its value day by day and it's not worth anything. And we don't like America, so we're not going to base anything on the American dollar. So we're going to go back to the gold standard. And now we're going to say that your ruble is worth so much gold, or vice versa. An ounce of gold is worth so many rubles. And because of that, they're going back on the gold standard because they can't prop up their money anymore. Nobody has faith. Then you have China doing the exact same thing. And both of them have declared that they have no faith in the U.S. currency. Now, again, not getting political, but if other countries start to jump on that damn bandwagon, what do you think is going to happen to the value of the dollar? It's got to take even a bigger hit than it's already hit. And Tony's right. It's going to go straight down the toilet. And I'm not preaching doom and gloom, but I'm saying if you just have, I don't know how much money y'all have, but let's just say you even had $100 in the bank, then in a month, it's going to lose 8%. And you're going to only have $92 worth of buying power. In another month, you're going to have 86. I can't do the math in my head, but you get the idea. It's going to be lower and lower, and you're buying less and less. Look at how it takes $120 to fill a tank of gas, depending on where you live. It might be $150. So the reality is, what are you going to do to be proactive against it? Well, here's the fact. Robert Kiyosaki shares this, he has for years, that when the dollar loses value, when interest rates rise, as both are happening right now, gold and silver have also risen. And what that means is, think of it this way. If the dollar is losing value, but gold is gaining value, if you were to switch, and I'm not talking about buy gold, I'm talking about convert your dollars into gold and silver, then you don't have any more dollars to go down. Your gold and silver that you switch to are going to go up. So what that's doing is it's putting a bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger space. Here, I should back up. Between gold and silver versus the dollar. It's protecting you against the dollar losing. So, what can you do? The answer is you can always convert back from gold and silver into dollars in the future, whether that be a week, a month, a year, or whatever. And if gold has risen, you get more dollars back in your pocket when you convert back to dollars, and then of course you can spend those dollars. Wouldn't it be cool if you could get merchants to take your gold and silver and you never had to deal with a dollar? Well, I'm going to tell you before we're done with this call how you can do that, because it's happening. And if you have that interest, let me just say, is that of interest to anyone listening right now? And are you following me so far? If it's of interest, put a 1 in the group. Put a 1 in the group, or a yes. Let me see what you got to say. Put it in the chat. I just want to see how many people are with me and who's copying here. Okay. I see quite a few. All right. Now, here, oh, now it's coming. Very good. Hey, Daryl, welcome. Good to see you again, man. All right. Yeah. All right. So here's the deal. If, um, if you understand that, I always get people ask the question, and Tony, I'm going to turn it over to you for a second because you've heard this question probably 10 times more than I have, and I've heard it already a lot. Is, hey, what if I don't have a lot of money? What's the point? I mean, every dollar that I get from my paycheck or every dollar I have coming in every month is getting spent anyway. I have no money in the bank. So, what's the point of getting gold and silver? Why should I if I have nothing left? Go ahead and answer that because I want to say something if it's different than yours, Tony.
Okay. Well, the avenue that we found, the vehicle that we found, allows everyday people to start saving in the physical gold and silver based upon what they can afford. Because the truth of the matter is, the average person, if you mention gold and silver, they check out. In their mind, it's just a rich man's game and a game of kings. But because of this vehicle 7K, it allows individuals, if you got $50, if you got $100, you can start saving in gold and silver that is historically has increased in value. Uh, as inflation rises, so does the value of gold and silver. So instead of saving in fiat currency that uh, is worth about 3 cents of what it once originally was, why not put it into gold and silver, which have both multiplied 3 to 4 times over the last 20 years? So that's the beautiful thing about it. If you're gonna save, why not save in an asset that will always have value in physical gold and silver? Because we know that fiat currency, and Scott, you did it so eloquent. Fiat currency is only money as long as the government says that it is, until the day they said that it's not. It's basically something it comes from a French word, which means something that circulates by force. So, and because our dollar is no longer backed by gold and silver, I mean, is really, like I said, worth about 3 cents of what it once was. So, and as inflation skyrockets, so does the value of gold and silver, and so does the dollar begin to decline. So that's why we always know the safe bet, the best thing to do is to save in physical assets of gold and silver. And Scott, as well as anybody else, if you look at the portfolio of the most successful people on the planet, they will always have a certain portion of it in the physical gold and or in what's called hard tangible asset. And the two most common ones is either real estate or precious metals. And the company we partnered up with, it's designed so that everyday people can start saving in physical gold and silver based upon what they can afford. We have people that do $50 a month, $100 a month, thousands of dollars a month, but it's based upon what you can afford. We make it available for you. Back to you, Scott.
Okay, thank you. And I'm going to try to share my screen for a second because I pulled up a chart. Actually, I am not a host, so I'm a participant, so I can't share my screen. Okay, well, you guys can go look it up for yourself. What I was about to show you is you can just Google gold and silver history charts. And if you look over the past 3 months, gold and silver has, well, let's just take silver. Let's just start with one. Silver over the last 3 months, between the early February and early May here, has pretty much hovered around $24 to $25 spot price per ounce. However, over the last week, silver has been dipping. And in fact, today it went down about 89 cents and it's in like $20 and a couple pennies. And here's why that's good is if anybody understands the history of silver and gold, they have seen that these goes back to the market manipulation I told you about the futures contract. Every time silver uh, takes a sharp dip in a short period of time, it's because it's people getting rid of the people who have put contracts and people who were expecting it to go down. It squeezes them out of the market and it makes them cover their contracts. A lot of you know about that. And what will end up happening is you'll have this temporary dip, which is the perfect time to buy more. And I'm stocking up like crazy right now because at $20 an ounce, that's lower than it has been in a long, long, long time. But literally just a couple weeks ago, it was $26 an ounce, literally. And so when you're talking a 30% drop, that's because of market manipulation. A lot of people talk about the Hunt brothers when they tried to corner the market in the 80s, and it shot the price up to like $80 an ounce for silver, about 4 times higher than where it is now. And a lot of people said, oh, it's going to the moon. And they jumped in and they bought it. And then they said, oh, we made a mistake. We're not going to do it anymore. And then they dumped. And when they dumped it, a massive, 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 massive profit, which is what these big old rich guys do, billionaires, multi-billionaires. We're talking states and companies and organizations and treasuries and banks. These are the guys doing that. Well, then they dumped the price and then they turned around and bought back once it came down again with all their profit dollars. Well, what does this mean? It means if you can't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. And what I know of history is when that happened in the 80s, it's just like it's happening right now. This is the time to be thinking about jumping on it because, again, it has to go back up because it has value, always has. And if you go through history, I'll give you an example that a good friend of mine once told me. If you think about it, you could buy a suit of armor back in the Middle Ages. If you wanted to buy a suit of armor, it cost you an ounce of gold. And if you go up to the Victorian ages, you want to buy a nice men's suit, it would cost you 100. I mean, sorry, 1 ounce of silver. I mean, gold. I stick with gold. 1 ounce of gold. If you want to buy a nice men's suit today, it's about 1 ounce of gold. And that's because gold holds its value when trading. Yet, look at the price of a suit. I remember when I was a kid, you can buy a suit for $39. Today, it's $2,000 or $3,000 for a suit. And I'm not talking about a kid suit. My parents were not paying that much either. So the bottom line is the metals will hold the money, so, the value. So right now we're seeing a squeeze, and this is a perfect time to get more. Tony mentioned very clearly that you could absolutely positively buy as little as or as much as you wish. And so let me make sure we're on the same page with that comment. Okay. Um, Let me expand my screen so I can see everybody. We're talking about the fact that if you only had $10 and you wanted to buy gold, you would take 10, or let's use 20. 20 divided by 2,000, and I'm rounding up because gold's only 1,800 and change. But let's say 2,000, just for easy math. You wanted to buy $20 worth. Well, then if you take 2,000 and divide it by 100, you'd be and divide it by 1,000. 2,000 divided by 1,000 is $2. You want to put $2 in? Go ahead. So I see Ralph asking, how much does gold go for now? Well, if you're looking, it depends on how you're buying and what you're buying. But if you're just buying pure metals, the spot price of gold today, as we speak, is, let me get them live price. I'll go look right now for you as we speak. A little slow on the internet connection, apparently. Gold is a spot price of $1,825 per ounce. If you want to go buy a gold eagle coin, bullion, it'll be just one. It'll be close to $2,000 because there's a couple $100 markup. A dealer will put a minimum markup of 150 per ounce. Okay. I have some very good friends who've been buying from dealers for a long, long time at 150 over spot price. So in this case, that'd be $1,975. So almost $2,000. But most people pay the 150 plus a fee, which is usually another $100. So you're talking typically about 250. The company that we buy it from, Stephen, Chris, Tony, myself, is called 7K. And 7K does not make a markup on their metals. Example of what I'm talking about is the U.S. Mint produces eagles. And there's only 13 companies that are authorized to buy from the mints to get out to the public. That's it. Only 13. And these 13 mark up the Eagles in the first place. And then what happens there is from those 13 companies, their markup goes to brokers. Then those brokers mark it up. And then other coin dealers get it from the brokers, like coin shops and so forth, which is where most people will end up buying from. And as a result of that, you're talking about uh, the coins like a gold eagle getting out to the public in the $1,900 to $1,950 range, and that's the markup they put on them. We buy from when I say we, I'm not a I'm only a member. I'm not a owner of 7K. So I'm not talking on their behalf as an owner. I'm talking as a member, which gives me the right to buy these at member prices. Think of like Costco. Okay. When you buy a Costco membership, you can go in and you can buy one item or you can buy 1,000 items, and you can buy this or buy that. You can take your pick. Okay. In a case like that, 7K allows you to get the same price they paid. So they buy from the same 13 dealers as anybody else online, any of your online sellers. And what'll end up happening there is they'll mark it up again. But we don't. The members don't pay a markup. So we're usually a few dollars per ounce cheaper on silver and maybe $40 or $50 per ounce cheaper on gold. I hope that answers that question, but that's how that works if you've never done it before. Members are allowed to buy gold and silver 24/7. Now, I wanted to talk about one other form of gold, which is collectibles, which I tend to like even better. Okay. And before I go on, let's talk about percentages of portfolios because I see Jill threw a question in there, so I wanted to answer that. I'm not an advisor. You're absolutely right. So what I do personally is only for me, and other people do it differently for themselves. So it really depends on it. But I typically am heavier in silver because of what I'm about to say in my next comment, which is coming up here as soon as I'm done, which is what I was about to say. But I'm typically heavier in silver than I am in gold, and I'm way heavier in collectibles than I am in bullion. I own, tens of times more in collectibles, but I haven't even described them. So I can't give you any recommendation of what to do, but my portfolio is probably 75 silver, 25 gold, but that's just me. Okay. I've seen, Robert Kiyosaki says you should be 90% silver and 10% gold. Every person out there has their own feeling about it, but I hope that helped answer your question there. Okay. Um, so that having been said, let's go back to bullion versus collectibles and why so heavy on collectibles. In my particular case, what I like about collectibles is these are coins like this one that I'm holding up to the screen. And you may have seen things like this before. They're in a protective hard slab. They can't be touched. This is graded, if I can get it close enough, you can see it says MS70, and MS70 means it's the highest perfect grade a collectible coin can get. We also grade it through one of the largest coin grading companies on the planet Earth, NGC, who's graded millions and tens and hundreds of millions of coins over the years. So when somebody is buying or selling collectible coins, they want to know an independent company has graded that coin, okay, and that it is something that they can pass to other people with security, knowing that there's nothing wrong with it. Okay, so let's talk about collectibles in general. A silver eagle, okay, in a bullion form is something you can hold in your hand, just play with, and a gold eagle, same way, bullion. But a collectible, they sift through all of the coins that the mint puts out to find a perfect one, and then they send it in for grading. And if it comes back MS70, and let's say it's a silver eagle, then it's worth over $100. Where a Bullion piece is worth about, you could buy a silver eagle for about $30 ish. Okay. So the reason I'm saying that to you is eagles have a premium. In fact, I looked up recently, some of the online sellers are selling for $36 to $38 for a single 1 ounce silver eagle that's bullion. A graded eagle, they don't even sell. They don't even deal with them. Those are on a totally different market. But a graded eagle are many, many times that, okay, because there's less of them, and they have been, there's a grading fee that gets added in there anyway. So that's why you're seeing over $100 for some MS-70s. Now, if give you a history, if you go back to 1986, the Silver Eagle was first produced, okay? If you had bought one Silver Eagle at its current market price, that was graded MS-70, and you kept it to this day, that's good. You pay a little more than you would have for a bullion coin, but what if you bought one a month? And if you had done that for the last 36 years, you would have spent about $50,000 converting cash to the coins. Okay, I say converting now because it's still money, but it has more value than money, and I'll show you why. It's kind of like the Mona Lisa; it's priceless, right? There's only one of a kind, and it's a very special painting, right? Baseball cards that are graded and sealed can be worth in the millions because they're just rare. So, but people want to pay that. Jackson Pollock paintings selling for $4 or $5 million, right? And what are they? Just scrambled paint. Looks like it came out of a blender on a canvas. And yet, my kids could do that, but they're not going to get no $4 million for it, if that makes any sense. Collectors will pay for scarcity and the story and quality. Okay. Now, that being said, if you bought one MS-70, you'd have spent about $50,000, and if you back that out, that works out to about $115 a month. Okay, about $115 a month. Had you done that, the current value of those eagles have gone up because they're so rare. They'd be worth 1,600,000 right now. You can look it up; it's online. And I would, if I asked you, would you trade 50,000 for 1.6 million? Everybody would. But the reality is, people can't see putting $50,000 away over the course of 36 years. But but 115 a month is not that big a deal if you just take it from some other pocket, or you maybe skimp on something. Maybe don't buy 3 cups of Starbucks a day. Maybe drop it down to one or something, and that'll add up to over $100 a month. So the point I'm getting at is uh, rarity equals higher. Oh, by the way, what if you just bought one Eagle Bullion a month? I did the math. Based on today's price, you'd get about $10,000. So would you rather have $10,000 or 1.6 million? And that is what's the beauty of collectibles. Now, what I like about 7K is they have plans where you can get a special coin every single month that maybe there's only 7,000 of them in existence. And that's rare. And people will fight over these things, and they bid the prices up. Some of these have doubled, tripled, quadrupled in less than a year. And I just recently sold one that I bought, and I got a profit off of it in less than a month. And so the reason I'm saying this to you is I have most of mine in collectibles because collectibles they go up, like Tony said, faster than bullion does, and they hold their value. And then the next time silver goes up, they go up again and hold their value. So they keep plateauing higher and higher and then holding. A Michael Jordan rookie card in perfect condition I could have bought that for $100 when he was playing, but now with how great he was and what he did, those cards are worth 10,000 or more, and for a single rookie card, and they're out there, but they're rare, and so that's why I'm telling you about it. How many are finding this kind of interesting or opening your eyes to collectibles? Put a 2 in the chat so I can see, please. All right, put a 2 in the chat if you are more interested in collectibles. Okay, so it's gonna probably take a little bit more time than we have on the whole call. So one thing I'm going to suggest to you is get a pencil and a paper ready or a pen, whatever, and write something down. I am going to, Jesse Tiva is in the group. And Jesse, would you type in your phone number in for everybody? Um, and Jesse is going to screen the calls and take them for people who are of interest. And for those of you who can't see the chat, what I'm going to do is give you Jesse's number here, okay, out loud. Write this down if you have a pen ready. It's 651 210 2288. Again, that's 651 210 2288. 651-210-2288. Okay. And then Jesse she just put that in the chat too. I see Ralph asks, could you explain the difference between 7K company and Nemus Market MLM company? Thank you. Okay. I'll try to
Ralph,
do
Ralph,
so.
on that part, Scott, is he talking about Numis Network? See if we can get clarification on that.
I think he meant Numis, but that's an old company. Yeah.
Yes.
Ralph, could you type in again whether you meant Numis or some new thing? While we're waiting for him to put something in there, everybody who's listening, if you take down Jesse's number, 651-210-2288, and text her, just text her hi and your name. And what she'll do is forward me your name and number, and I will arrange for a private consultation where I can talk one-on-one with you, answer a lot of questions for you. No sales pitch or nothing like that. I'm not here selling for anything, but I am helping people to do stuff. But let me go into the answer. There is, I think what Ralph was wondering is, do we have an income opportunity as well at 7K? And the answer, oh, Ralphie, hi Ralphie. So anyway, Numis Network was a company that did multi-level marketing back many years ago. Many years ago. It's been a decade at least, I think. And they only had limited offerings, and all they were doing is selling silver eagles. They didn't have collectibles, anything like this. These coins, for example, are made specifically for 7K, so nobody else can get them except a member. There are other kinds of collectibles you can get, even if you are a member, that don't have to be that. So text Jesse, anybody who has these kind of questions, and she'll get you on my schedule. And Tony can also take calls too, by the way. So Jesse can work out for us to help you. But I know we have limited time, and in the next 5-10 minutes, I want to explain a couple other items. The collectibles, a lot of people ask, where do we sell these? How do you get cash for them? How quickly can you turn a coin? And the answer is instantly. 7K members get an access to a website called Stack and Sell, which normally has a membership fee of its own of like $20 a month. And through that, you can save all of your coins in we call it stacking them, but you'll have like an electronic capture of all your coins for your own records. And then if you ever want to sell one, you can list it. And you just name your asking price. And the Stack and Sell has an algorithm that will give you the market value of that coin based on eBay, Amazon, Stack and Sell, and other networks that do collectible coin trading. And so you'll know what the coin is worth. And if you're not being greedy, you can sell your coin very quickly. I've done that. I've bought coins from Stack and Sell, and I've sold coins on Stack and Sell. It's a great tool. Also, how fast can you flip your bullion? If let's just say you buy bullion right now at $21 spot price, and it goes up to, I'm not saying that's what the Eagles are, because there's always a premium on Eagles, but most people out there will charge $16 to $18 an ounce premium, which is almost double. And that's just silly. But that's what people are paying because they want American Eagles, safest coin on the planet. Well, anyway, that being said, you can press a button and 24/7 you can buy as much or as little as you want, and you can sell as much or as little as you want. If you want, if let's say you owed somebody a couple $100, you could sell a tenth of an ounce and get a couple $100 released and put it right in your bank account. So it's as easy as cash. But one of the things, let me tell you, because I'm excited to share. I said I was earlier, and now is the time. Stack and Sell has not Stack and Sell. I'm sorry, our Sound Money electronic wallet, where you're buying your bullion and transferring money back and forth to your bank account. That has a feature that's being introduced here within the next 3 months. Is a debit card hooked to gold and silver that is being saved in a vault. Now, you can always take possession of your physical metals as long as they're in even ounces of eagles, but let's say you own 1.37 ounces or something like that. Well, you could take one out and still keep 0.37 ounces of gold in your vault. Okay, because they'll do it digitally. Why? Because they have multi-millions of dollars of eagles that are audited once a week in there to cover it. So you always are cool that way. If you ever want to take possession, bam, just ask for it. They'll send you to your door. Insured, of course, FedEx. So that means we're eliminating banks, which is another feature of a membership. But members can buy gold and silver at the cheapest price. They can get discounts on anywhere from food to entertainment. They can get there's the Sound Money wallet, the Stack and Sell membership. The list goes on and on. So if you have an interest in being a member, I have no idea. Just let me know if you do. Put a 2 in the chat. And again, if you haven't already texted Jesse at 651-210-2288, do that. Make a note of that and just say, hey, I'm interested in some more information or whatnot. We'll be happy to share with you. Back. Okay, I hope you can hear me now. I was just saying, put a 2 in the chat if you wanted to know more information about a membership, and we'll be happy to share that too. And if not, that's perfectly okay. So that being said, Tony, was there any other items you'd like to share from an educational standpoint? Which, hey, put a. I see some 2s coming in. Thanks, I appreciate it. Also, guys, put in a 1 if you have learned anything you did not know already on this call. If you learned something you didn't know, put a 1 in the chat as well. Okay. All right, good. So I'll open it up. We have a couple more minutes. Oh, thank you. We have a few more minutes before we were scheduled to end. So if you have a raise hand button, go ahead and raise your hand. And I'm not actually the host, so I don't know if I can unmute you. Probably better to stick it in the Q&A. Stick it in the Q&A. And Claire, you and I, I got your appointment scheduled, so we'll be talking, and that's good. Ralphie, look forward to it. Michael, excellent. Madeline, wonderful. Look forward to talking to you. Make sure you get hold of Jesse on that text number. Okay. And all right. Questions? Last call. We'll do a little bit. There's one other thing. Can you make extra money? And that's something that came up earlier from the question. Yeah, if you happen to refer other members, you could make some extra income through referral process. It doesn't come from new members in terms of out of their pocket. They don't pay more because you're getting a commission. And it doesn't come at anyone else's expense. It's just a company benefit that they'll reward you for sharing about the membership. It would be like if Costco. I've told maybe 20 people to join Costco because I have a membership, but Costco never sent me any money for referring any of those people. 7K can and will. There is no referral fees for bullion purchases because it's sold without a profit. The company does not make their money on that. The company makes money from memberships, and they also make money from collectible coins. So there's a percentage of collectible coins. Now, it comes every single month. It's called an auto saver program. And you remember how I talked about saving an eagle every month for the last 36 years, if you got one since it came out in 1986? Well, people can't remember to do that and go out and buy one. It is this way, it just gets shipped to my door once a month. And that way I just set it and forget it. And when people are on that program, you get referral money from that too, and it adds up. If you made an extra, couple $100 a week, that'd be kind of cool. If you made 1,000 a month, that'd be kind of cool, and it's doable. It's very doable, and so I do want to share that. Nagy does this. Noggle does this. Me and Tony do this. We're not looking to make money off of you because we don't get anything directly from your direct membership, but it adds up. It adds up. So if you have to, if you haven't even referred two people, you're not going to make any money. But if you do two or more, you have a shot at getting some extra commissions. And we'll be happy to explain that more in detail offline. Send a text to 651 210 2288. That's our friend Jessie on the line here. She's also a member. Happy to help people. Okay. And that's a helping business. Tony, would you like to share anything before we go? I'm not seeing any questions going in the Q&A. So we'll wrap up here shortly.
You knocked out of the park, my friend. I'm just looking forward to those conversations, man.
I'm happy to help you guys. With that in mind, I guess we'll end. And I hope you learned something. I saw a lot of ones. That's helpful to me. And next week, if more of you are members, we can go into more detailed how to make money stuff there as well as privately. Happy to help you. And Tony, if you're a mentor for any other program, let her know. Well, send in your text to Jessie and she'll hook you up. Okay. And thank you guys. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna leave, and you take care. Bye bye.